It's been 28 years since the rage virus first tore across the United Kingdom, leaving cities deserted, humanity shattered, and a generation raised in the shadow of fear. And now, the story continues. Welcome back to the world of 28 Days Later, now reimagined in the terrifying and visually stunning sequel, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Our story begins with Spike, a 12-year-old boy played by Alfie Williams, who has grown up isolated on a remote island, raised by his father, Jamie, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and the mysterious Isla, played by Jodie Comer. Spike has no memory of the world before the rage virus, and the island is one of the few safe havens left in Britain. But the boy's curiosity and his sense of responsibility drives him to leave the safety of the island and journey to the mainland, seeking help for Isla, who suffers from a mysterious illness. As he ventures on to the mainland, Spike relies on his wits, instincts, and surprisingly impressive archery skills to navigate a landscape still crawling with rage-infected. But danger lurks at every turn, not just in the form of the infected, but in human threats as well. Spike's first brush with danger comes when he's cornered by a pack of the fast, predatory infected. It seems like the end, until a bizarre group arrives, the Jimmies. The Jimmies are a gang of young, tracksuit-wearing cultists led by the unhinged Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal, played by Jack O'Connell. Modeled in part after the notorious Jimmy Savile, Crystal has styled himself as a kind of satanic messiah, believing that the rage virus is the work of the devil, Old Nick himself. His followers, all named Jimmy, or variations like Jimmy Ink, Jimmy Snake, and even Jemima, live by a brutal, ritualistic code, forcing new recruits to fight to the death in what Crystal calls charity. Spike narrowly survives a deadly ritual, becoming part of this twisted gang after a knife fight leaves his opponent bleeding out. Here, DaCosta brilliantly juxtaposes horror and dark humor. The Jimmies are terrifying, yet oddly absurd in their childlike devotion, blonde wigs and spatchcocked sneaker masks. Their ceremonies, inspired by distorted memories of childhood shows like Teletubbies, create a surreal, nightmarish playground of violence and ritual. Spike begins to see the thin line between survival and morality, learning that the human monsters, like the Jimmies, can sometimes be far worse than the infected themselves. Meanwhile, Dr. Ian Kelson, played by Ralph Fiennes, has been building a monumental, macabre structure in the Scottish Highlands, a temple constructed entirely from human bones. This isn't some random act of horror. Kelson's bone temple is his way of honoring the dead, a grotesque memento mori reminding the world of mortality and humanity's fragility. The temple is both eerie and strangely beautiful, a signature DaCosta set piece that blends horror with philosophical depth.
Kelson, a deeply intellectual and somewhat eccentric character, has been experimenting with ways to understand and possibly even cure the rage virus. His methods are unconventional, ranging from chemical concoctions to dangerous interactions with alpha-infected, the most evolved and terrifying of the virus-infected creatures. One such creature, Samson, played by Chi Lewis Perry, is a hulking, almost Neanderthal-like figure who terrifies the living but forms a strange, uneasy bond with Kelson. Through this bond, we see glimpses of hope amidst the carnage. Kelson's intellect is humanity's counterweight to the chaos surrounding him. Spike and the Jimmies eventually stumble upon Kelson's temple, thinking they are encountering Satan himself. What follows is a dazzling blend of horror, dark humor, and rock and roll spectacle, highlighted by Iron Maiden's The Number of the Beast, blasting across the Highland landscapes as rituals and battles collide. At the heart of the film is a philosophical battle as much as it is a physical one.
On one side, we have Jimmy Crystal, whose worldview is reductive, violent, and built around myth and chaos. On the other, Kelson represents logic, science, and the painstaking study of nature. Their worlds collide violently when the Jimmies arrive at the Bone Temple, expecting worship and blood, only to find an organized mind who can manipulate and control the infected, and perhaps even tame them. Spike finds himself caught between these two forces, witnessing firsthand the consequences of belief without reason versus reason without mercy. This is not just survival, it is a lesson in morality, loyalty, and the evolution of human society in a post-apocalyptic world. And just when we think we've seen everything, there's a glimmer of continuity for longtime fans. At the end of the film, we get a quiet, poignant glimpse of Jim, the original protagonist of 28 Days Later, played by Cillian Murphy. Years after surviving the original outbreak, Jim has settled on the mainland with his daughter, teaching her about history, life, and survival. It's a tender, humanizing moment amidst the carnage, reminding audiences that the world has not only been destroyed, it has also endured. Jim's presence sets up the next installment in the trilogy. While he is not central to the action of the Bone Temple, his knowledge, experience, and mysterious connection to the rage virus hint at a pivotal role in the concluding film, where themes of redemption and the ultimate fate of humanity will take center stage. 28 years later, The Bone Temple isn't just a horror film. It's a meditation on the nature of evil, the limits of morality, and what it means to survive when society collapses. Through Spike's journey, the rise of Jimmy Crystal, and Kelson's eerie experiments, the film asks, are monsters born or are they made? And what happens when the lines between human and inhuman are blurred? The Bone Temple also excels in combining visceral horror with intellectual depth. The rage-infected are terrifying, the Jimmies are horrifyingly inventive, and the Bone Temple itself is a monument to human creativity, even in the face of apocalypse. DaCosta balances suspense, gore, and dark humor, crafting a film that is as thought-provoking as it is thrilling. By the film's conclusion, Spike survives, carrying the next generation of humanity with him in the form of Isla's baby, named in her honor. Jimmy Crystal remains a looming threat, his cult still a dangerous force, while Kelson continues his experiments in the Bone Temple, ever the scientist exploring the edge of human knowledge and morality. As Spike leaves the mainland, the story is far from over. The rage virus, human greed, and moral ambiguity remain, setting the stage for the final film in the trilogy, which promises to answer long-standing questions, confront ultimate evil, and reveal whether humanity can ever truly reclaim its future. 28 years later, The Bone Temple is more than a zombie film. It's a thrilling, emotional, and cerebral journey through a world where death is only the beginning. With stunning performances from Alfie Williams, Ralph Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, and the promise of Cillian Murphy's return, it's a horror epic that will leave you breathless, horrified, and hungry for the final chapter. So buckle up, the rage is back, the Bone Temple awaits, and the apocalypse has never been more gripping, more terrifying, or more human. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more full movie breakdowns, explanations, and deep dives into your favorite horror franchises.